If anybody needs a handout, I have extras right here if you need
Lord, you got
one. Yep. If anybody needs a handout, there you are. Yep. Um,
What should the top of this one say, David?
it should say the ancestry of a better hope. It should be Hebrews 7:1-28.
Yeah.
That's what I gave last week. The ancestry of a better hope, and we're talking about Melchizedek. Yep, that's it right there. Yep. Oh,
We get pray for all the people that's involved in that earthquake at 8:20.
oh yeah, up there in Russia.
Armies are still, they're still having alerts for them. So
Yeah.
far, I don't think anybody's been killed.
Okay. No, there hasn't. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is some that you gotta watch out for.
Yeah. All right. All right. Hebrews in chapter 7. And we're going to read verses 1-4. And review real briefly of last week. I think I got through all of the first, number 1, Roman numeral 1. If I didn't, somebody please let me know. The mystery of Melchizedek. Did I get through all that? Okay. I got through that whole thing. All right. So tonight we're going to try to get Roman numeral number 2. And that way we can just dive back in September on number 3. So Hebrews chapter 7, verses 1-4. Says, "For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually." Verse 4, "Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils." So last week we started this ancestry of a better hope, because this whole section from Hebrews chapter 6 verse number 9 all the way down to Hebrews 7:28 is really speaking about a better hope, and it's really broken down into different sections. We finished up at the end of chapter number 6 looking at a better anchor, or anchor of a better hope. This week, started last week, we look at the ancestry of a better hope. And because we all know who is the better hope, Jesus Christ. And so the whole book of Hebrews is about him being better, superior to all things of the Old Testament. All right. So last week we started looking at the mystery of Melchizedek, this person that he speaks of in in chapter 6, verse 20. But he's also spoke about him again, I believe. Somebody corrected me, I think it was Jeff. It was Hebrews chapter 4. He was mentioned also. But here in Hebrews 6:20, and then again in Hebrews chapter 7, verse number 1, he is mentioned again. And so we were able to look from verses 1-3, we were able to see the mystery of Melchizedek. And we were able to look at his position. He was king and priest, which was completely different. That was unheard of. For one, he was from Salem, okay? And then for two, he was a king and a priest. And we understand priesthood had not been established yet. The priesthood had not been established. And so, because when did the priesthood get established? After Moses, right? And so during Moses' time in the wilderness is when the priesthood, Levitical priesthood, got established. So here you go. Here comes a man. I'm going to guess he had to be a Gentile. He was a Gentile. because Abraham was a Gentile. There was no Jewish line yet, so he was a Gentile. All right. So here he comes on the scene, and he is he's a high priest of the Most High God, and he is also a king of Salem, which means king of peace. And so here he comes on the scene, completely unheard of. His position throws a true mystery. It throws a wrench in the whole circle there. But his position, he was king and priest, which was completely unheard of in that day. And then we had his person. So we saw his position, then we saw his person, and we saw that he was without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth the priest continually. Like I told you last week, this can be seen many different ways. However you want to see it, regardless, we didn't get any genealogy with it. It doesn't mean that he just popped on the scene and popped off, even though that's what we see in the scriptures. So we could take it that far. I would say that he probably had genealogy because he was a human. He was not God, so of course he had genealogy. But I believe that we have recording of him not having any genealogy because he is a type of the Most High God. He is not a pre-incarnate. Okay, we have to understand that. He's not pre-incarnate. He is a typology of Christ himself. Okay, and so he pops on, doesn't have mother, father, and so he has no lineage, and shows the true mystery because of his person. And then we see his picture. He's eternal. He's timeless. Because it says there he has no beginning of days nor end of life. Not saying he didn't die. He obviously had to be born. But because of that, again, we come into typology, shows his eternal state, shows his eternal life. He is timeless. And so it's all shadows. It's all typologies of the Jesus Christ. So now we're going to dive into the majesty of Melchizedek. Okay? The majesty. Hebrews 7:4 says, now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. We're talking Abraham, one of the founding fathers of the Jewish nation. Okay? The forefather, the father of the Jewish nation. He paid tithes to Melchizedek. Okay? And this was of the spoils. Of the spoils of what? Sodom. No, it was to the king. Who was it to there, Jim? I'm running a blank now. It was to those who had captured Sodom, the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? It was whoever had captured. I forget who it was now. But anyways, it was a mighty battle. It was a mighty kingdom that took them hostage. And so Abraham had taken the spoils. That means everything that was worth anything, Abraham took. All right? And so now he pays a tenth to Melchizedek of the spoils. That's no small sum of money. Okay? No small sum of whatever you want to count it back then. So it was no small gift. He defeated a large number of kings and had taken their possessions. And when we see this act proves Melchizedek's greatness. This proves how great this man was in Genesis. Okay? One does not give tithes without it being an obligation. You don't give tithes to someone that is lower than you. We give tithes to God because he is the supreme. All right? And so you're not paying tithes to me. You're not paying tithes to the church. Say, well, I write my check to the church. You write your check to the church, that way it can get cashed. But you're right, you're paying your tithes to God. You're not paying it to me. You're not paying it to the church. And so Abraham, he was giving his tithes to Melchizedek. Okay, we're talking about a patriarch, one of the founding fathers of the Jewish nation, and here he is given to a man who's a Gentile, he's never seen before. He doesn't know him from Adam. All right, this man shows up on the scene, and all of a sudden Adam knows exactly who he is, and he pays him tithes. Shows his mystery. I mean, it shows his mystery, but then it shows his majesty. It shows just how magnificent he was at this time. Abraham felt as a matter of obligation to the Most High God that the person to give it to was Melchizedek. He knew that if he needed to give his spoils, if he needed to give a tenth of his spoils to anybody, it was going to be this man that just showed up on the scene. Met him on the way. I mean, he was coming back from war, was on his way back to rejoin everybody else, and here comes this man up on the scene. Pops in, pops out, and we only see him for a few verses in Genesis, and he goes away. This was not a small tip. It was a large payment made by one of Israel's most important figureheads. His tithe is one of the most unexpected and one of the most fascinating parts of the Old Testament. Okay? Because of who he was and who he paid it to. That is why I believe Paul made mention here in Hebrews 7:4, he made mention that Abraham, a patriarch. That word patriarch, we don't find that word very often in the New Testament. We don't find that word, actually very seldom will you find the word patriarch in the New Testament. Why all of a sudden do we have it here in Hebrews chapter 7? To show how important Melchizedek was compared to Abraham. To show that Melchizedek was superior to Abraham. And so the father Abraham paying homage to someone else. Okay? He's paying homage to someone who's not a patriarch. He's paying homage to someone who's not even part of the Jewish nation. He's paying homage to someone that's a Gentile. He's paying homage to this one person. I mean, that's a true, that would just, if I was a Jew reading this, it'd blow my mind. I'd be like, that ain't right. I'd be like, that can't be true. Somebody's making that stuff up. That's what I would think. But no, I believe Paul is letting them know that this is a big deal. Abraham, though blessed and chosen, though he was chosen, he was called out of the Ur of the Chaldees, and he was a Gentile. He was called out of the Ur of the Chaldees, and he was called to go forth, and he was called to be the father of many nations. And he goes out into the wilderness, and all of a sudden he meets another Gentile in the way, this man, and says, okay, well, I don't know you from Adam, but I'm going to give you a tenth of my spoils. It's pretty important. That's a pretty important deal. Abraham, though blessed and chosen, recognized Melchizedek's superior spiritual authority. This would have shocked the Jewish reader. Their father Abraham paying homage to someone other than another patriarch. What? True shocker. And so this is a very important detail. Patriarch denotes the highest level of honor in the Jewish life. If you had the word patriarch attached to your name, it's the highest honor of the Jewish life. He was a father of Israel. Okay. I read this from a commentary. Says, by attaching the title of respect to Abraham, the author demonstrates the superiority of Melchizedek, even when compared to Abraham, the great patriarch. In other words, even Abraham, the great patriarch, pales in comparison to Melchizedek, since he is the one that is blessed by this priest, and is also the one who gives this priest a tenth of all his spoils. I wrote down an application here. If Abraham looked up to Melchizedek and paid him homage and paid him a tenth, if he looked up to Melchizedek, and in Christ's priesthood is supposed to be after the order of Melchizedek, how much more should we bow before Jesus Christ? If Abraham, a patriarch of the Jewish people, paid homage and bowed before Melchizedek, gave him tenth of his spoils, and was blessed of Melchizedek, how much more should we pay? How much more should we pay honor, give honor and glory to Jesus Christ himself? Because his priesthood is superior to Melchizedek. So that is what Paul is trying to get across here. That's what Paul is trying to get people to understand, is that Melchizedek, or the Abraham being superior, being a patriarch, he was still not superior to Melchizedek. And we've already been told that Melchizedek is less than Jesus Christ. So you see how we're building upon everything here? We've been building upon it since the very beginning, that Jesus is better. He's better than Aaron. He's better than Moses. He's better than he's a better hope. He's better than sacrifice. We're going to be able to get into that in Hebrews 9, Hebrews 10. We're going to be able to see the sacrifice and see that he's a better sacrifice. He's a better, I mean, he's just better. And that's what Paul's trying to get across to us. Okay, and he's trying to get it across to the Hebrews. So we're gonna stop right there. We'll pick up next month in September. We'll come back and look at Hebrews chapter 7, and we'll cover 5 through 10. So we'll do a lengthy review, I'm sure. It may even take a whole night to do a review before we dive back into it. So, all right, does anybody have anything? Comments, questions, concerns? No critiques, just concerns. All right, I get enough critiques at home. I know. That's what I live for it, brother. Live for it. What's talking about?
Live for it, die from it, is that what you said?
Live for it and die from it. Amen. All right. Nobody has anything. We'll be dismissed to word of prayer. Don't forget to be praying for one another. Be praying for this Sunday. And then Friday, Liberty's having that concert if you'd like to go.